So they call this meeting with all the Obama top people, and no revised PDB has been issued yet. No revised intelligence community assessment has happened yet. The last thing that happened in the intel community was, we're going to tell them that there really was no significant Russian interference, at least insofar as election apparatus goes. And FBI said, we're out. We're going to issue our own. And then Clapper said, all right, let's just pause everything. Then everybody gets together. Right after that, before any revised intel happened, before anything happened, they began leaking to the media. WAPO, New York Times, CNN, saying something diametrically opposed, saying, Russia interfered. And that to you describe that as the smoking gun that shows there had been a decision to shift the entire messaging around this in a way they thought would undermine Trump.
When Megyn Kelly steps into the ring, legends don't just stumble, they collapse. Barack Obama, once hailed as the untouchable icon of polished politics, finds his legacy peeled apart with surgical sarcasm and a torch of truth. No soft jabs here, just a relentless takedown of glamorized failures, media worship, and hollow promises dressed as progress. Kelly doesn't just roast, she incinerates the myth in real time, leaving behind ashes where illusions once stood. This isn't commentary. It's demolition with precision.
So how much is enough money, according to the Obamas? 70 million? Because public reports estimate that is their net worth, parlayed on the back of Barack Obama's 14 years of holding political office. He did not spend 50 years in government service. He did a stint in the Illinois State Senate. He did a couple years in the U.S. Senate before he ran for office and won. All right, then he did 2 terms as president. And off of that, he's made himself over $100 million. Almost $100 million, probably over to be.
Barack Obama entered the political spotlight like a messiah riding a unicorn, gliding through a haze of hype, cameras, and sleek designer hope posters. For someone crowned as the face of real change, he quickly perfected the skill of preserving the status quo, only this time with sharper lighting and flawless teleprompter delivery. As Megyn Kelly tears through the shimmering illusion, it becomes clear the emperor wasn't merely undressed, he was marketing his nakedness as the pinnacle of political style.
But you can't say anything that is in any way critical of a minority racial group, especially blacks in America.
That was what Barack Obama learned very quickly when he ran for office. Remember that in his memoir, he said he just sort of when he went to a campus, he wanted to only hang out with black people. He had to break up with his white girlfriend. And then he really threw his own grandmother, who had actually scrimped and saved to put him in prep school, when he said she was a typical white person who was unduly afraid of black males approaching her. So he didn't want to be known as a multiracial or non-racial person. He really wanted to emphasize only half of his own ancestry. And it was very sad, because when you actually looked at his grandmother and all of that, she was the one person in his life who made sure that he had access to a competitive education. And she was.
Let's talk about the Nobel Peace Prize winner who bagged the award like a complimentary mint at a hotel lobby. The man hadn't even unpacked his office chair when Oslo handed him the medal. For what precisely? For existing. For being tall and eloquent. Meanwhile, drone strikes were already queued up like Amazon packages during Black Friday. But don't worry, they came with a smug smile and a carefully worded press statement that made incinerating wedding parties sound like progress.
I'm so glad I didn't have a boy. Because he would have been a Barack Obama. It's like baby Barack. It would have been amazing. Ooh, no, I would have felt for him.
She just borrowed our boys.
Oh, yes, I got plenty.
Wow.
Catch that? She thought she didn't have a boy because he would have been a Barack Obama.
Megyn Kelly doesn't just roast, she surgically dissects. And Obama's sacred cow status gets no mercy. He strutted into office with the kind of celebrity aura that made you think he was going to duet with Beyoncé before tackling unemployment. And in true Hollywood fashion, that's pretty much what happened. Red carpets, slow jams with Jimmy Fallon, guest spots with comedians who fawned over every pause like it was divine revelation. Meanwhile, Flint, Michigan couldn't get clean water, and veterans waited longer for healthcare than a new iPhone release.
Here she is talking about it. If it were me, I would say something nice about him. I would say like, he's just so charming. It was meant to be. I knew he could heal the earth in the way he did. There was only one person who could do it, and it was my husband, Barack Obama, whatever. Then she gets on to talking a little bit about him personally, and this is how that sounded.
When a girlfriend comes to visit, it's usually like, you got to stay for 2 days because it's going to take us
so much
2
time to
days
catch up
to check up. Now, Barack's come in, he's come out, and he's like, y'all still talking? He'll sit down for 5 minutes, be like, how are the boys?
Let's not forget his unparalleled gift for saying absolutely nothing in the most beautiful way possible. Entire speeches sounded like gospel until you rewound the tape and realized he just promised everything to everyone while committing to nothing. You'd think the man could feed 5,000 with 5 talking points and a catchy slogan. But beneath the poetry was a masterclass in deflection, a Shakespearean act of dodging accountability behind theatrical grace.
I love how the soundbite begins. Okay, it's not the fear for myself. I drive around in a 4-car motorcade with a police escort. I'm Michelle Obama. Unbelievable, right? Who talks about themselves that way? Even if you are Michelle Obama. Barack Obama doesn't talk about himself that way. It's just like the hubris. And then, this is the part that jumped out to me more than any other. I do still worry about my daughters in the world, even though they are somewhat recognized.
Then there was the grand economic recovery. The stock market danced, Wall Street threw confetti, and tech bros popped champagne. Meanwhile, average Americans were juggling part-time jobs with zero benefits, trying to pay rent with hope and leftover campaign buttons. Megyn Kelly doesn't need props to make that irony sting. She just lays it bare. Obama bailed out the banks, not the people. And Obamacare, sold like the iPhone of policies, affordable, sleek, revolutionary. In reality, it was more like a refurbished BlackBerry with a cracked screen.
The instant affectation, like, oh, my man, and like she doubles down in the following clip. It's just over the top, and here it is, 37.
There hasn't been one moment in our marriage where I thought about quitting my man, and we've had some really hard times, so we have had a lot of fun times, a lot of adventures, and I have become a better person because of the man I'm married to.
Okay, don't make me cry now. Right at the beginning of the show.
That's
don't let me.
But don't worry, the selfies were on point. Obama spent more time curating his cool factor than actually confronting the bureaucratic sludge keeping government from functioning. The man gave interviews to YouTubers in bathtubs, while veterans begged for hospital appointments. If charisma were currency, America would have had a budget surplus. But charm doesn't pay off student debt or lower the cost of insulin. Behind the suits and speeches was a man whose policies left far more style than substance.
Again, it's like a Michelle Obama situation. We don't care. No one feels sorry for you. Shut up and do your stupid job, where you sit in your air-conditioned studio with people running out to powder your face. And I mean, I guess somebody has done that hair. It's unclear, but they'd have to be insisting on it, wouldn't they? In any event, the same outfit every night. We know absolutely no effort is made to look good.
Megyn doesn't just laugh at the contradictions. She exposes how they were packaged and sold like luxury beliefs. Remember the climate change obsession? The same guy who scolded the world for carbon footprints flew around like a travel influencer. He railed against the rich while dining with billionaires. Post-presidency, Netflix deals, 6-figure speeches, and beachfront mansions. He played the media like a fiddle. And they played along, never asking why his administration prosecuted more whistleblowers than all before combined.
Everything she says is negative. We've been watching clips from her podcast over the past couple of weeks. Everything she says is negative. I mean, you would never know you are hearing from a woman who was first lady for 8 years, has become probably a billionaire by this point, is out on David Geffen's yacht every other summer, her estate in Martha's Vineyard, her daughters who went to these Tony schools. You would think you were listening to somebody basically like another.
Megyn Kelly doesn't have to stretch the truth. The irony is baked into every line. The transparent president who hid behind executive orders. The hope peddler who left young people drowning in debt. The reformer who turned out to be the smoothest salesman of the same old swamp. His cult of personality lives on. But what did it change? Income inequality widened. Polarization exploded. Global tension simmered under his smile. Kelly slices through the mythology. No anesthesia, just truth.
More fuel on the fire that there's a potential, maybe a divorce or some sort of rockiness going on in the Obamas' relationship. They both posted these mirrored, very choreographed Valentine's Day messages on X, but he was just seen at an LA, the basketball team, the Clippers, thank you, game without her. And then on Tuesday, he was spotted eating out at a fancy dinner in Sherman Oaks with both daughters, Malia and Sasha, but again, no.
And somehow he still finds time to lecture Americans about unity, from a beachfront microphone, surrounded by private security and organic hors d'oeuvres. It's not just about flaws, it's the gall. The unshakable self-righteousness that wrapped every misstep in high-minded prose. He could crash a car into a daycare and call it a lesson in resilience. Megyn doesn't exaggerate. The satire writes itself. His contradictions could fill a book and outsell his memoirs.
What I think binds it together, all these different strands, a case upholding healthcare, a case declaring same-sex marriage part of our constitutional protections, of mourning. I think what pulls it all together is that no one person did any of that.
So he's sitting around on a June Thursday thinking about himself and his glory day.
And as this roast closes in like a final hammer strike, one thing becomes clear. Behind the glamour, spotlight, and curated cool was a presidency more obsessed with its legacy than its impact. Let's not forget the red carpet approach to crisis. Every scandal, riot, or disaster got a statement. Beautifully written, utterly ineffective. People needed action. He gave anecdotes. Needed backbone. Got bromides. Diplomacy became disappearance.
We don't know all of the earnings. The Obamas reportedly owned 4 luxury properties. A home in Martha's Vineyard, estimated to be worth some $20 million. In addition to properties in Washington, D.C., reportedly bought for $8.1 million. A beachfront home in Hawaii, reportedly bought for $8.7 million. And a home bought in Chicago for $1.65 million. Is that more than you need, Mr. Obama? Mrs. Obama?
Obama. Megyn Kelly makes it clear. The emperor's legacy isn't just hollow, it's gourmet failure wrapped in gold foil. Years preaching transparency, while quietly building the surveillance state. A president who rose above the consequences of his own choices. He didn't lead, he narrated. And now he haunts the stage like a political ghostwriter, pretending the chaos wasn't his doing. Megyn's roast ends not with a punchline, but a mirror. Because the cost of illusion wasn't paid in applause, it was paid by the people left cleaning up the mess.